Good morning students. Today we will continue the chapter number 10, political formations in the 18th century. So as you know that in the 18th century, India was ruled by Mughal dynasty, and in the Mughal dynasty we had certain important members of the court who ruled different provinces. So what were the provinces? Provinces were basically divisions of the country. Provinces were divisions of the country, and then the provinces were further divided into various districts, and the districts were further divided into villages. Okay. So there were certain important provinces such as the Hyderabad, Awadh and Bengal, and these were administered by or managed by or governed by certain important members of the court, such as the first one is Nizamul Mulk Asaf Jah, the founder of Hyderabad. The first important court member of Mughal was Nizamul Mulk Asaf Jah, and he was also the founder of Hyderabad. He was in the court of Mughal Emperor Farrukh Siyar. Farrukh Siyar was a Mughal emperor. Farrukh Siyar was a Mughal emperor, and Nizamul Mulk Asaf Jah was the court member of Farrukh Siyar, who was a Mughal emperor. And Nizamul Mulk also founded the province of Hyderabad. He was the founder of the province of Hyderabad. Then Nizamul Mulk Asaf Jah also governed the Awadh and Deccan region. Nizamul Mulk Asaf Jah also governed Awadh and Deccan region. He was the court member of the Mughal emperor Farrukh Siyar, and he was also the founder of Hyderabad. Then see that Nizamul Mulk Asaf Jah also appointed various mansabdars and he gave them jagirs. So let us see what are mansabdars. What are mansabdars? Mansabdar is a person with a rank or position. A mansabdar is a person with rank or position, right? And what are jagirs? Jagirs are the lands which are granted to jagirdars. Jagirdars were basically authoritative positions in the Mughal period, and these people were given certain land, certain area of land, and their duty was to collect revenue from that land. For example, if a person is given the district of Aligarh and he is made the jagirdar, and this jagirdar is given the responsibility of collecting taxes from the district of Aligarh. So Aligarh is a jagir, and a person who is collecting revenue from Aligarh is known as a jagirdar. This is just an example, but the jagirdars are not there in India right now. Jagirdars used to exist in the Mughal period, right? It was an important authoritative position in the Mughal period, right? So jagirs were lands which were granted to jagirdars, and the jagirdars maintained troops, that is smaller units of army. They maintained troops and also provide their services to the state. Whenever the state asked them to provide some service, they provided their services to the state as well, right? And the sole duty of the jagirdars was to, the main purpose of jagirdar was to collect revenue. It was to collect revenue from their own jagirs. The jagirs that they were given, they had to collect revenue from those jagirs, right? Then next one is fought against Marathas. So Nizamul Mulk Asaf Jah also fought against the Marathas and the Nayaks. And who were Nayaks? Who were Nayaks? Nayaks. And who were Nayaks? Nayaks were independent Telugu warrior chiefs. They were independent Telugu warrior chiefs. They were the chief of warriors in the region of Tamil, right? They were Telugu warrior chiefs of the plateau, right? Then see the next point. Nizamul Mulk also wished to gain control of Coromandel coast. Why he wanted to gain control of the Coromandel coast? He wanted to gain control of this coast because the coast was a rich textile producing area. Coromandel coast was a very rich textile producing area. Different types of textiles were being produced in this area, such as the cotton textile and all the other different textiles which are being produced there. So it was a very important center of manufacturing of textiles. So that is why Nizamul Mulk Asaf Jah wanted to gain control of the Coromandel coast so that he can also benefit from that rich textile producing area, the rich textile producing industry which was there, right? Then another important province that we have in the Mughal period is the province of Awadh, and the founder of Awadh was Burhanul Mulk Saadat Khan. Burhanul Mulk Saadat Khan was the founder of Awadh, and he founded Awadh in the year 1722. He founded the Awadh province in the year 1722, and Awadh was also the main route, the main path between the northern India and Bengal. It was a main route or main path between northern India and Bengal, right? Then Burhanul Mulk also had office of Diwani, Subadari and Faujdari. Diwani, Subadari and Faujdari. So Burhanul Mulk also had offices of Diwani, Subadari and Faujdari. Along with that, he was appointed as the Subadar of Awadh. So he was also a Subadar of the Awadh, and he also had offices. That is, he was also an office worker of Diwani and Subadari and Faujdari. So what is the meaning of these terms, Diwani, Subadari and Faujdari? Diwani means tax collection department. The meaning of Diwani is tax collection department. So the founder of Awadh, whose name was Burhanul Mulk Saadat Khan, was also in the tax collection department. He also had offices in the tax collection department, and then he also had offices in Subadari. Then Burhanul Mulk Saadat Khan also had offices of Subadari. And what is the meaning of Subadar? Subadar means ruler or governor, right? And then he also had the offices of Faujdar. And what is the meaning of Faujdar? What is the meaning of Faujdar? Faujdar means combined functions of a military commander along with judicial and land revenue functions. So Faujdar was a person who performed the function of a military commander. A Faujdar performed the functions of a military commander, and along with judicial and land revenue functions. He also collected revenue from the lands, and he also performed judicial functions such as, telling the people the final decision of a jury. The function of a judicial, the function of the judiciary was also performed by this Fauzdar. So Fauzdar also performed the functions of land revenue, and he also performed the functions of judiciary, and the Fauzdar also performed the functions of military commander. So he performed three types of functions such as the military commander, the judicial services, and the land revenue officer, right? So Fauzdar was a very important position in the Mughal period. So as we can see that Burhanul Mulk was not only the Subedar, he was also Diwani, Subedari and Fauzdari. He was also in the departments of Diwani, Subedari and Fauzdari, right? And what is a Subedar? Subedar is a provincial governor. A Subedar is a provincial governor. Diwani is a tax collection department, Subedar is a provincial governor, and Fauzdari is combined functions of military commander, the judicial services, and the land revenue functions. Then what did Burhanul Mulk do after becoming the founder of the Awadh, after founding the province of Awadh? What did Burhanul Mulk do? He reduced the number of Jagirdars. There were many Jagirdars before the Burhanul Mulk became the founder of Awadh. He noticed that in the land of Awadh there were many Jagirdars before him. And what did he do? That he reduced the number of those Jagirdars. He reduced the number of those Jagirdars and Jagirs. And the number of Jagis was also reduced. Not only the Jagirdars, but the number of Jagis was also reduced. And he appointed trusted servants. He appointed many trusted servants on whom he could place his own trust. And he then governed the province of Awadh. Then he governed the state of province of Awadh. Right? And what is the meaning of Jagirdars and Jagirs? What is the meaning of Jagirdar and Jagir? A Jagir is a land granted to Jagirdars. A Jagir is a land granted to Jagirdars. Right? And the sole duty of the Jagirdars was to collect revenue from their own Jagirs. The sole duty of Jagirdars was to collect revenue from their own Jagirs. Then he also acquired Rajput Zamindars and Afghans of Rohilkhand. Then what did Burhanul Mulk do after becoming the founder of Awadh? He also acquired Rajput Zamindars and Afghans of Rohilkhand. Right? They were Rajput Zamindars. They were Zamindars who were from the caste of Rajputs, from the community of Rajputs, and they were also Afghans of Rohilkhand. He acquired them. He brought them under his own control. He brought those Rajputs, Zamindars and Afghans of Rohilkhand under his own control. So now they were following orders of founder of Awadh, whose name was Burhanul Mulk. These people were now following orders or taking orders from the founder of Awadh, Burhanul Mulk, right? And Zamindars were collecting revenue from the province of Awadh, and when Burhanul Mulk came, he brought them under his own control. So he now started collecting the revenue from the province of Awadh, right? Then state depended on bankers and mahajans. State depended on bankers and mahajans. Let's see the next point, which is state depended on bankers and mahajans. There were certain important people such as the bankers and mahajans, and the state depended on them for the collection of revenue because they were a very important source of collection of revenue, right? The bankers and mahajans provided revenue for the administration of the state. They provided revenue for the administration of the state. And what were the mahajans? Mahajans were basically traders with high respectable position. They were traders with high and respectable positions, and they were known as the mahajans. These mahajans were the highly respected and reputed traders, and the name was mahajan. Then what did Burhanul Mulk do? That he sold the right to collect the taxes to the highest bidder. Auction was done to sell the rights of collecting taxes from the different provinces or the different Jagirs. So this auction was done so that the rights of collecting the revenue from the people of that province or the Jagir could be given to the highest bidder. The right of collection of taxes or the right of collection of the revenue from the Jagir or from the province would be given to the highest bidder. The person who places the highest bid, the person who raises the highest, highest offer. The person who places the highest offer for purchasing the right of collecting tax or revenue is the highest bidder. Then there were revenue farmers who wanted freedom in assessment and collection of taxes. And what is the meaning of assessment? That how much tax that they have to pay on their land or on their produce or whatever the tax was being collected, how much is the amount that they have to pay. Assessment is the calculation of the total sum of money which is to be paid in the form of taxes. So they wanted this freedom in assessment of taxes, and they also wanted freedom in the manner in which they collected the tax. In whatever way they wanted to collect the tax, that is, they wanted to collect it weekly or daily, and how much of did they wanted to collect and how they wanted to collect. They wanted that they be given this type of freedom. Revenue farmers wanted that the state would give them the freedom in their assessment and the collection of taxes. Right? So revenue farmers used to pay some sum of money. They used to pay fixed sum of money to the state in return for the freedom in assessment or collection of taxes. To get this freedom of assessment and collection of tax, revenue farmers used to pay fixed sum of money to the state. Then moving on to the next important province of the 18th century under the Mughal rule was Bengal. Another important province under the Mughal rule in the 18th century is the province of Bengal. And who was the ruler of Bengal? Who was the governor of Bengal? Bengal was governed by Murshid Quli Khan. It was governed by Murshid Quli Khan. He was the governor of Bengal. He was responsible for the administration and for the governing of the province of Bengal. And what did he did that he made Murshidabad as the capital of Bengal. You know, Murshid Quli Khan made Murshidabad the capital of Bengal. You know, Murshidabad matches with his own name. His name is Murshid Quli Khan, and he made the capital at Murshidabad. Murshidabad was made the capital of Bengal under the government of Murshid Quli Khan. Right? He was made the governor of Bengal and he made the capital of Bengal at Murshidabad. Then he also made very strict rules. He also made very strict rules for collection of revenue from zamindars. He made such strict rules for the collection of revenue from zamindars that zamindars had to take loans from the different banking houses. They had to take loans from the different banking houses so that they could pay the amount to the state. So that they could pay the amount to Murshid Quli Khan. Right, see the last paragraph on page 85, just above the heading of Bengal, there is the state depended on bankers and mahajans for loans. It sold the right to collect tax to highest bidders, and these revenue farmers agreed to pay the state a fixed sum of money. In return, the farmers were given considerable freedom in assessment and collection of taxes. Then, under the heading of Bengal, there is Murshid Quli Khan was the governor of Bengal. He was the governor of Bengal. See on page number 86, it is written here that after just the image of Murshid Quli Khan, he formulated strict rules to collect revenue, and sometimes the zamindars had to borrow money from the bankers. Zamindars even had to borrow money from the bankers so that they could pay the revenue to the governor. They could pay revenue to the governor, right? Zamindars used to borrow money from money lenders and bankers. Zamindars used to borrow money from bankers and money lenders. They used to borrow money from bankers and money lenders so that they could pay this revenue to the state or to the governor of Bengal. They were under so much pressure that they had to give the revenue to the governor of Bengal that they used to take loans, they used to take money from the bankers and money lenders so that they could pay revenue to the state of Bengal or to the governor of Bengal. And the zamindars who failed to pay revenue to the state of Bengal or to the governor were forced to sell out their property. They had to sell their own property and land to the larger zamindars. The smaller zamindars who were unable to pay the revenue to the state or to pay the revenue to the governor of Bengal, they were forced to sell their own property, to sell their own land to the larger zamindars. Right? And it is also observed that during the rule of Ali Vardi Khan, there was a close connection between the state and the bankers. There was a very close connection between the state, that is the ruling government, and the bankers, that is the ruling government and the bankers. So when the Mughal was establishing their control over the different states, such as they were founding the Hyderabad, they were founding Awadh and Bengal, there was a suspicion in the mind of the Mughal rulers that some kind of administrative system was always there. Before establishing the states of Hyderabad, Awadh and Bengal, there was some kind of administrative system already existent in those areas, and this system was known by the name Zamindari. There was the system of Zamindari, and so the Mughal rulers were quite suspicious of the administrative services, administrative activities that were taking place in these areas. The Mughal rulers were very suspicious of the already existent systems of administration that were there in the lands that they were conquering, the lands which were later founded as Hyderabad, Awadh and Bengal. The Mughals were suspicious that in these provinces there was some kind of administrative system already existent over there, and the Mughals were not aware of the different shortcomings or the loopholes of that system. The Mughals did not know that what type of cheating were the zamindars or the different jagirdars were doing, and so Mughal rulers were always suspicious of the activities, always suspicious of the administrative system that was already prevalent in the areas before the Mughals established their control and founded the different provinces of Hyderabad, Awadh and Bengal. The practice of ijardari was also becoming very popular during the Mughal rule. And what was the meaning of ijardari? Ijardari means the right of collecting revenue, particularly from an area, auctioned to the highest bidder. When the right of collection of taxes is auctioned to the highest bidder, this system is known by the name ijardari. And we have also seen this ijardari system in the Awadh province. In the Awadh province, the right of collection of taxes was given to the highest bidder. We have also seen the system of ijardari in our province, where the right of collection of taxes was given to the highest bidder. It was auctioned to the highest bidder, and this was the system of ijardari, right? Then we also observed that there were many good relations. There were good relations between the bankers and the merchants. In the different provinces in the Mughal period, there were very good relations between the bankers and the merchants. Merchants were basically traders, or the people who sold goods from taking the goods from one place and then selling it on another land. They were known as merchants, and the merchants had very good relations with the bankers. And the bankers and merchants used to give loan to the revenue farmers, and they used to take their land as a security, so that if they fail to pay back the sum of money which they have taken as loan, their land would be taken as security. Their land would be snatched away from them because they have failed to pay back the loan which they had taken from the bankers and merchants. So the bankers and merchants took their land as security so that they don't run away with the money, and they pay back the money in exchange for their land. And they also collected the taxes through their own agents. These people used to collect taxes through their own agents. And what were the people? The people were bankers and the merchants. They used to collect taxes through their own agents. They had their own agents to collect the taxes.